Here's why I never eat carbs.
I don't think vegetables are great for humans.
Eating meat has increasingly been associated with health risks like heart disease, certain cancers, and an early death.
Can we stop with the fad diet BS and just realize that we're omnivores? I mean, it's called a balanced diet for a reason, and I don't mean the stupid USDA pyramid. Welcome back to Former Fat Guy Fitness. I'm Tyler, your former fat guy, and today, to continue the 101 series, we're going to be diving into what has become my favorite thing to learn about since I started my health journey: nutrition. As I said in my transformation video, the vast majority of my efforts to lose my weight and keep it off since have gone into the kitchen and what I throw in my mouth hole. One of the many addictions I've had to deal with over the last year during this journey, along with smoking and drinking, has been my love of food. I used to think I would have to get rid of all the foods I love or starve myself in order to lose weight, when in reality, it's just not true. While it still is a challenge to lose weight, it's a lot easier when you're armed with some basic information on foods and what you should and shouldn't eat. So today we're going to be going over the three major macronutrients: protein, fat, and carbs, how much of each you should be getting, and the different types of fiber and how important it is to get those. I will include timestamps in the description below if you want to jump around or watch a specific part of the video. And if you want to help the channel out, consider hitting subscribe below. It really does help out and it's no cost to you. Also, if you're a keyboard warrior / gym bro who disagrees with me, please let me know in the comments. I love reading complaints. Also, much like I said in my transformation video, I am not a dietitian, I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a bodybuilder, not an elite athlete, not a personal trainer, I'm not a nothing. Hell, if my parents were Asian, they would have named me some dumb guy. I'm just an ex-fat guy who lost a ton of weight and has kept it off, sharing my own personal story and what I would personally recommend. So, if you're not interested in the anecdotal evidence of some dumb guy who went from fat to fit, then be gone with yourself. Still here? All right. Well, then let's get into the major macronutrients, aka macros. Everything you should focus on eating is based off of three numbers: protein, fat, and fiber. I know this is already starting to sound like keto. Trust me, it's not. I love my pastas and starchy carbs, and you don't have to go cutting all your carbs out. Just focus on getting the essentials, and these are the three that I track on a regular basis. I will get to fiber later on, but for now, we'll stick with the major macros of protein, fat, and carbs. If you can remember 6 words, then you'll be able to remember how much you should be getting of each. At least, exactly, and whatever is left. This 6-word rule translates into at least 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight every day, exactly 25 to 30% of your daily calories from fat, and then whatever's left, fill with carbs, because it's never a struggle to eat carbs, so whatever you have left on calories, fill it up with carbs. But now for the important question: why, bro? Like I said at the start, we're omnivores. We're designed to eat multiple types of foods, and there's good reasons to eat this much for each macro. Starting with protein, there are 4 primary reasons why I build my daily diet around protein and say get at least 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. The first being essential. No, literally. Essential amino acids. Protein contains one of the essential acids our body requires, and amino acids. There are 20 kinds of amino acids in total, but only 9 are considered essential. While I won't get into what each of these are, considering that would probably be better for somebody more scientific than me, remember, some dumb guy, these are crucial for reasons like improving your mood, increasing your energy levels, boosting your immune system, and repairing cells, and much more. Along the same lines, the second reason to focus on protein is for muscle building, which will in turn increase your BMR and allow you to burn more calories at rest. In order for you to build more muscles, however, you need to work those muscles out within a reasonable level of failure and then have muscle protein synthesis occur. Did you notice the key word there? Protein. Those essential amino acids that I mentioned are the key element to having protein synthesis occur. So you could lift weights all day, every day without sufficient protein, you'll just be spinning your wheels. The third reason why you should be building your diet around protein is something I briefly mentioned in the Calorie 101 video where we had the lady with crazy eyes. Protein has the highest thermic effect of food. In simpler terms, protein requires more energy for your body to digest it. So the more protein you'll eat, the more calories you'll burn. Once again though, I wouldn't go overthinking the calorie burn of your foods, because if you're eating a consistent diet, then that variable will remain constant. So it's something you'll never even need to consider. The last and most important reason for my former fat guys out there why you should focus on protein is it is the most satiating macronutrient of all, and it will help you decide if you're hungry or not. One of my favorite YouTubers out there is Tanner Shuck, and he has a great test to see if you're hungry called the protein test. If you're hungry, but the idea of eating a bunch of chicken or steak just doesn't sound appealing to you, then you're probably not hungry. More than likely just bored. So go do something. Moving on to the exactly portion of our 6-word rule from before, fat. This might seem counterintuitive, but fat is very crucial to being fit and healthy. There's a reason, though, why I chose the word exactly for how much of it you should eat. Eat too much of it, and you'll just become fat without the benefits. Eat too little of it, and you won't get any of the benefits at all. So you can't avoid it altogether. You need to be Goldilocks and get it just right. That's why we're trying to shoot for that 25 to 30% mark of your daily calories. The first main reason why you need to get fat in your diet is the same exact reason as proteins. It holds an essential acid, but these are the essential fatty acids. The essential fatty acids are things like omega-3s and omega-6s. The main benefits of omega-3s and omega-6s are things like heart health, cancer prevention, cognitive function, hormone function, preventing depression, and way more. You can find omega-3s and 6s in things like fish, nuts, oils, flax seeds, grass-fed beef, or if you don't eat enough of these things, which if you don't eat these things, I don't know what you do eat, but you could do what I do and take a fish oil supplement daily. The second reason why you want to try to get fat in your diet is because of the number one thing that so many guys struggle with nowadays, your T levels. There have been a few studies to come out over the last few years that show a link between low-fat diets and lower testosterone. Aside from the studies, I can personally attest to what low amounts of fat will do to you because I kept my fat intake stupidly low on my weight loss. This led me to having issues like low energy, low libido, plateaus on my strength and muscle building. Notice how all of those are also side effects of having lower testosterone. While some of this could be attributed to the steep calorie deficit that I described in my mistakes video, I will also put a large amount of the blame on my low fat intake. The third and final reason why I say to get exactly this much fat in your diet is another one for my former fat guys out there, and that's the taste. Seriously, do you know anyone who's ever eaten something fatty and said, "Man, that tastes like No? Yeah, me neither. There's two reasons for this. The first one being fat's ability to dissolve and concentrate flavors on your taste buds. This is why things like aromatics always get cooked in oils and butters. This is why things like cookies and baked goods usually have loads of butter put in them. It's also why salad dressings and mayo usually have a really high fat content because they spread the flavors through your taste buds really effectively. Second is evolutionary. When we as humans spent our times hunting and gathering, fat sources were one of our best and favorite foods because we could store the fat and calories in our body since we didn't know when we would eat again. This is because fat has over twice as many calories as protein and carbs at 9 calories per gram versus 4 calories per gram. In turn, this caused the human brain to be attuned to loving fat, but both of these reasons are a double-edged sword. While we do love our fatty foods and they taste really good, that's the problem. They taste really good, so we tend to overeat them, especially in today's society where we have all these fatty foods at our fingertips and can just have them delivered to our door. So enjoy your fatty foods and enjoy the taste that comes with them, but if we don't show a little bit of restraint in the amount that we eat and make better choices, then we end up with the obesity epidemic that we currently have. So this goes back to the general rule for this macro, and get the exact amount of fats that you need, not too much, not too little. Be Goldilocks. Now the last macro to go over is the one my crazy keto people out there think are the devil and magically just cause weight gain. Carbs. Now, before you go grabbing your pitchforks and start yelling your terms at me like glycemic index, ketosis, ketones, whatever it is, whatever you want to yell at me, I will admit keto does get some things right, albeit indirectly. Cutting carbs will help you lose weight, but that's because you're cutting out things like empty calories and sugar, or calorically dense foods like breads, pastas, and starchy carbs. This in turn creates a calorie deficit and fat loss by indirectly lowering your calorie intake, not just by saying carbs bad. Another thing it does get right is by getting rid of these foods, it helps control your blood sugar levels, which helps you with your hunger cues. If you're not hungry as often, then you won't be eating as often. Now, even though keto does get these things right, I'm still not saying you need to cut all carbs out completely. The first and one of the most important reasons why carbs should be part of a balanced diet, especially if you lift weights and exercise intensely, is they are the fuel source for your glycogen stores. In simple terms, it's where your energy to do things comes from. Now, people who do keto will say that your body will use ketones for a fuel source, aka fat. But according to this study from 2014 in the peer-reviewed human nutrition journal Nutrients, ketones are more beneficial for low to moderate intensity workouts such as endurance work, But low-carb diets reduce the performance for high-intensity workouts like weightlifting. You actually see similar results from this 2017 paper in the Journal of Physiology, where they compared the performance of elite race walkers and found chronic adaptation to a ketogenic, low-carb, high-fat diet, impaired exercise economy, and negated the transfer of training-induced increases. And, in contrast, training with the diet rich in carbohydrates, which provided either high or periodized carbohydrate availability around training sessions, was associated with improved race outcomes. So in layman terms, while you can get your energy from fat sources, you're not going to be at the possible performance levels that you could be if you relied on glycogen, or carbs, instead, especially if that workout is designed to be of the intense variety. Reason number 2 why carbs should be an important part of your diet also stems from the glucose in these foods, and that's sleep. You ever notice when you eat something high in carbs that shortly after you get brain fog and feel relatively tired? This has to do with the spike in glucose levels and the crash that comes with it. It is also speculated that carbs both increase the uptake of tryptophan and increase the length of quality REM sleep you get, but both of these studies admit that there's more research that needs to be done to validate this thought. The one from the same journal as before, Nutrients, states the effectiveness carbs has on sleep is less likely to come from the type or amount of carbs and more likely to come just from the relative glycemic load in what you eat. Either way, this is why I have an eating style close to the new fitness and podcast Lord and Savior, Andrew Huberman, and I'll eat similar to a keto diet in the morning, aka high fat, high protein, and then I'll enjoy my carbs later throughout the day, and it seems to have awesome effects on my sleep. The final reason you need to fill your calories out with carbs is the massive amount of micronutrients you'll be getting from carbs. Whether it's iron, magnesium, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin B, fiber, whatever frickin' micronutrient it is you're looking at, pretty good chances you're going to be getting it from a carb source. It's one of the problems with low-carb diets. People who follow them can end up nutrient deficient if they don't really supplement the right way or go out of their way to get them in another form. While all of this might sound like me trying to tear keto down or tear down low-carb diets, if you do keto, if you love keto, if you found success with it, then stick to it. Remember, I'm just some dumb guy out here trying to say that a balanced diet isn't necessarily a bad idea. So get your greens, get your fruits, enjoy your starchy carbs because they're all good sources of the last thing that we're going over: fiber. If you've seen my channel at all, I'm pretty sure you've seen me mention just how important fiber is for us former fat guys. It keeps us regular, it fixes our gut health that we spent years destroying, and most importantly, it keeps us full and happy. Fiber is one of 3 numbers that I track on a daily basis in my diet alongside my protein and my fat. I have to get a minimum of 35 grams of fiber every day, but I eat enough of it, I get closer to 50 or 60. However, there's a lot of different kinds of fibers, between dietary, functional, soluble, insoluble, fermentable, or viscous fibers. There's enough information you can kind of drown in it, just like with anything else in nutrition or hell life in general. So here we're only going to focus on 2 types of fibers: soluble and insoluble. These are 2 categories most fibers will fall into. A soluble fiber is a fiber that is just that, soluble. In other words, it can dissolve and mix with the water in your stomach to form a gel-like substance. This includes things like carrots, oatmeal, apples, chia seeds, beans, and more. An insoluble fiber is one that does what you would think and does the opposite of soluble. Basically, this is food that won't dissolve in your stomach, so instead of dissolving into a gel, this is fiber that will stay relatively solid in your system and help push things through, so to speak. This includes things like whole wheat flour, potatoes, cauliflower, green beans, nuts, and more. Both types of fibers will provide you the benefit of helping you stay full and satiated, and they'll also help keep your gut health high. You'll also find that most of these foods that have fiber in them will have a balance of soluble and insoluble fiber, which is important because you do need both. For example, if you only ate soluble fiber, all that gel-like substance in your stomach wouldn't have anything solid to form stool with, so you would just have diarrhea. If you only had insoluble fiber, you would have a bunch of solid material in your stomach, but nothing liquid to get it going, so you would just be constipated. This brings it back to the theme of the video: balance. You need a balance of both kinds of fiber to really have a healthy gut and healthy system. That's definitely enough for this 101 video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. If you found anything in this video helpful or you learned something new, hit the like button. Or, like I mentioned, if you're a keyboard warrior or a gym bro who disagrees with me, please get to rage baiting down in the comments below. I look forward to seeing those too. Also, if you want to help the channel out or see more coming down the road from the 101 series or other recipes that I'll be putting out, hit subscribe. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.